On this short video, I'm going to ask another trick question on this week's reading, Parsha B'Shalach. Where do you find two words in a row that are written precisely the same way in our Torah scrolls, but mean and are pronounced differently? The answer is Sham Sam. This is the 15th chapter, 25th verse. It says that the water that was too bitter to drink, and the people complained, so Hashem told Moshe what to do to fix the situation. And after this it says these 7 words: Sham sam lo choku mishpat v'sham nisahu. There he put for him the laws and the judgments, and he tested him there, meaning Hashem tested the Jewish people. Now, the laws and judgment, by the way, according to our sages, mean that there are certain mitzvahs that were already given at that time, before even the revelation at Sinai. Which is not a big surprise, because we know that a lot of mitzvot were given in the previous Parsha back in Egypt, so why couldn't there be some mitzvot given some time before the revelation at Sinai? Maybe less than a month before coming to Sinai, certain mitzvot were given to them. But the word Sham Sam is the answer to my question, of course. Sham Sam. Those words are written the same because both Sin and Shin are written in the Torah the same way. The distinction is part of the oral law, just like the vowels. Of course, everybody knows that our Torah scrolls are written without vowels, without various cantillation signs, meaning the trap, the musical tones. That's a system, very complex system, that's far better than commas and semicolons and various other symbols that are used usually in English or Russian or other languages. The commas, of course, are needed in order to split a sentence into phrases. It becomes clear what you're trying to say. But the ta'amim, what's called, in Hebrew they're called ta'amim. You could translate it as notes, musical notes, but tam means taste. It gives like special intonation to the reading. Of course, all the verses of the Torah are read in a kind of musical tone. In fact, the Gra used to say that the 3 levels correspond to the 3 levels of soul. The neshama, the highest level, is the ta'amim. The ruach is the nikudot, meaning the vowels, and it's the nefesh together with the guf. The lowest level is the consonants that are actually written in the Torah. So the Torah only, the Torah scrolls only contain the consonants. The rest, the one who is reading the Torah, the Baal Koreh, has to remember which intonations are and which vowels are. So Sin and Shin, even though it's not a question of a vowel, but it also falls in the same category of nikudot, dots literally, meaning it's the dot on the left that makes it a sin, a dot on the right that makes it a shin. That's why there is sometimes ambiguity in certain cases when there was a dispute in Masorah. Usually it's not in the Chumash, but in the books of Nevi'im and Ktuvim and the later books of prophets and writings. Sometimes there are different opinions if it's a shin or a sin. Another interesting point to make, even though it's not related to this lecture, but I think it's a cute thing, it's known that the ancient Greek alphabet took from what's called Paleo-Hebrew or Phoenician. I consider these two more or less interchangeable. Phoenicians were northern Canaanites, where Lebanon is today. Today Arabs live there, like in all of those areas. Syria, Iraq, Egypt, all of these places now are Arabic, but at that time, in the biblical times, they were all separate nations, completely unrelated to the Arabs today. And they had their own culture and their own languages, and northern Canaanites spoke also a dialect of Hebrew. Ramban, and according to Ibn Ezra, Hebrew was the language of the Eretz Canaan, the land of Canaan. So the Phoenician language, which is the northern Canaanite language, is really just a dialect of the same ancient Hebrew. And what they call Paleo-Hebrew is the script that's used for writing that the Jewish people also used, apparently mostly before the First Temple and during the First Temple. And at later time, the Ktav Ashuri started being used. According to one opinion in the Talmud, even the Luchot that Moshe brought from Sinai were written in the Paleo-Hebrew. There's an opinion in Jerusalem Talmud like that. At any rate, the Paleo-Hebrew is what gave rise to various European alphabets, including, of course, the Greek alphabet. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta is Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. But what the Greeks did is they usually reversed it from left to right instead of right to left. For instance, the Kaf in Paleo-Hebrew looks exactly like a mirror image of K letter. But like I said, they made it going from left to right as opposed to right to left, which is the Kaf. So most of the letters you can clearly recognize how they came from the ancient Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew alphabet to the Greek alphabet. But there was no sound of sh in Greek. So the letter Shin gave rise to Sigma, which is S. But what does Samech then become? We already have a letter S. So Samech became a Ksi, since the Greeks like this combination of K, S sounds together. So it became a separate letter, Ksi, that came from the ancient Paleo-Hebrew Samech. Just an interesting point. And then, of course, in many other European languages, a lot of the proper names and the geographical locations lost the Shin sound. Moshe became Moses. By the way, there used to be some Jews in certain areas of the land of Israel in the ancient times that used to also pronounce apparently Shin as Sin. It's mentioned in the book of Judges, in the book of Shoftim, that Bnei Ephraim used to pronounce Sh like S. So coming back to this interesting puzzle of Shin sometimes being Sin, there are actually some opinions that maybe it used to be pronounced slightly differently. Why there would be two letters that are pronounced exactly the same? Samech and Sin. Maybe there was some difference in pronunciation. I actually think that it's very likely so. We know that Ashkenazim, for instance, European Jews, lost the pronunciation of a few letters that sound to us, to European ear, identical. For instance, the two types of T sound, Tav and Tet, became identical in European languages. And that's why Ashkenazic Jews say them exactly the same way. But Tet and Tav are slightly different. And Sephardim actually do distinguish them. Tet is a very rare letter, by the way. It's the most rare letter. Tet and Samech are the two rarest letters in the Torah. Tav, on the other hand, is a very common letter. If you like this video, please press like.